Montrose Playhouse is a community-based 3-screen cinema and art centre in Montrose Town Centre. It has a cafe bar, it has also community spaces and a retail space at the front of the building. So the project started about 10 years ago with a sketch that I'd done, posted on Facebook. With the feedback I got from that, we put together a steering group which then started to develop some ideas on how the building could be transformed into something that's good for the community. We then done a lot of market research, questionnaires, etc., to try and get as much feedback from the community as possible to take the project forward. Our market research found that there was a big gap in Montrose for a cinema and art centre facility. The nearest was a 40 to 60 mile round trip to Aberdeen or Dundee. We also identified that mental health issues, social isolation and dementia were some of the issues that weren't being addressed in Montrose, so we built them into our programmes for moving the project forward. There was a love for the old building. It was built in the 60s. It was always been a heavily used swimming pool in the town, and everyone has memories of the building. And for us, it was a no-brainer to reuse that and also reuse some of the bits and pieces that were in the building, like the old diving boards, some of the signage, which you'll see throughout the building as well. So nostalgia was a big part of our project. We couldn't get funding without a certain amount of funding, and then we couldn't get funding without funding. So the committee struggled for a few years to get where we needed to be, and it wasn't until we done a DIY SOS style strip out of the old building that we saved ourselves 6 months and about £250,000 that we took that to funders, and we were granted our first big win in September 2018 from the Scottish Government's Regeneration Capital Grant Fund. The milestones for the Playhouse project were becoming a charity and taking forward that social enterprise idea of a community-based cinema and art centre. Then we developed it on further to purchasing the building from Angus Council under a community asset transfer for £1, which was a huge milestone for us. Then we developed the idea of the DIY SOS, which stripped the building back to its sort of bare bones, and then from there our biggest milestone was our capital regeneration fund from the government. We faced quite a lot of challenges. Probably the main one for us was COVID. We had the funding in place, but not all of it. We had to make a decision to either go for it or pull back and actually cancel the project, but we got the support. We pushed past it. We had a really good team behind us, and we took on staff who helped us develop that further. The community from Montrose have always been involved with the Playhouse. From its inception, where we had our first public meeting where we formed our steering group, to developing the market research and questionnaires throughout the town to see what people wanted from the building. And also when we done our DIY SOS strip out, we had around 70 or 80 people and local businesses help do that over several weeks. The old swimming pool in Montrose was a challenging building to convert. It actually was an extremely inaccessible building, with the pool hall being actually halfway between the ground floor and the first floor. So we had to make sure that as a community project we were making the building fully accessible by putting a new lift in. The other challenge was how many screens do we have, because the pool hall was huge, and it wasn't until we got some professional input from a cinema consultant that we developed the pool hall into 3 screens rather than one big one, which gave us much more flexibility in being able to programme different films.
The impact on the community has been absolutely phenomenal. We've now, in the first 6 months, had 52,000 people come and visit our cinema screens, which, considering we wanted to get 68,000 in the first years, to do that in 6 months has been phenomenal. And it's a great marker of how the community has responded to the project as they've voted with their feet. But on another level, the community impact we've had in terms of our social programming and the projects and the other charities and CICs that we've worked with to deliver those has been amazing. Now it's about solidifying the audience and not resting on our laurels, and making sure that we remain relevant, that we keep talking to the community, that we keep looking for new ways to provide the services and the programs that they need, that they want, and that will make an impact to improve their lives.
I think it's been a fantastic boost for the community. It's a fantastic venue. There's so much going on. The cinema screens are so comfortable.
It's created 30 job opportunities for people in the local area, and I just really love it. I love working here.
When the community got together and decided to rebuild it and repurpose it, really, we were really pleased, because it made such a difference to the local community. It meant that we wouldn't have to go to Aberdeen or Dundee to see a movie.
The cinema in Montrose is right next to my house, and I get to come here very often.
The first time that I sat with my daughter and we watched a film together, and just the look on her face was just magical, and it felt like a huge achievement to have got this over the line against all the odds.
When you're walking up the high street and people stop you to say hello that you've never met before and say, oh, we absolutely love the Playhouse, it's amazing to have it in our town now, it makes it all worthwhile. Achievement and pride is just incredible.
This project really was like taking a plunge into the deep end, and there were definitely times when we struggled to stay afloat, but I feel like we're swimming in safer waters now.